Alright fellas, well the truck, she's got over 70,000 on it. Normally what I do is at 50,000 I change the diff, the transfer case, but we're doing that at 70,000. So right now we're going to do the rear diff. We're going to get into, should be really simple for those of you that haven't done it. You're going to need a couple of different things. We're going to need some gear lube, some brake clean, and a couple of different tools. So some advice that I give you is go to your owner's manual, figure out what kind of gear oil you need, and then you make a decision based on what products you like. AMSOIL, Mobil 1, Valvoline, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that it's the right fluid. For me, as you guys know, I like Mobil 1, and this is what I'm going to use. Okay? So let's get into the cleaning and tear down. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is just going to want to look to make sure there's not a bunch of dirt and crap around here. Mine's pretty clean. If it's nasty, you might want to hit it with the pressure washer, get the brush out, whatever. But this is pretty decent. So the next thing we're going to do now that we're clean is we're going to get a 3/8 ratchet and we're going to check to see if the fill plug opens, because if it's seized, well, there's really no way to fill it. So that's the first thing we're going to check. Alright, got a 3/8. I like to give them a little tighten if I can first. Crunch all those stuff up. Alright. Looks like we've got a little bit of material on here. So the next thing we're going to do is we'll check. I think this looks like a 13. Pop all these off, pull the diff cover. Alright, my mistake. They're 10 millimeters. So well, I won't bore you with me struggling here, but we'll take all these bolts out and then check back. Alright, so once you got everything cracked loose, what I would recommend, or what I like to do, is leave the top bolt in, not tight. See, it's just loose, and then take all these out. So that what you'll do is you'll open up the bottom and you pull this back and all the fluid will fall. It seems to be a little bit easier to get this all over your face if you pull the diff off altogether, but if you pull it, I'll show you in just a sec, but that's what I wanted to mention before you get too far. So another thing I noticed too is these bolts have Loctite on them, so they're going to be extremely difficult to get out. That just means that you have one more thing that you need to add to your parts list, which is Loctite. I'll probably put blue in there. I have red. That's what looks like that's what was in there, but we'll get this all drained out and then I'll show you what the inside looks like. Alright, so looks like all the bolt lengths are the same except for the one that holds the brake lines down. A bit longer. Just pop this up out of the way. Pull the cover off. There's that big beautiful gear set. Let's pop this gasket off. So hopefully we can do that without ruining it, because I was planning on reusing this if I can. Awesome. Gasket came off. We'll just hit this with the little brake cleans, paper towel. We'll do the same thing around here and then we'll clean out this. So let me get the brake clean and we'll get that rolling. So looking in here, I mean, we're not too nasty, but I'm going to clean all this stuff out. I mean, you don't have to go hog wild with the brake clean, but basically what you want to make sure is, as long as there's no gunk in the bottom here, just clean that stuff out, and then get this out of the way so we can prep the surface. Alright, there's a little magnet down here too in the bottom, in mine anyway, so I would recommend trying to get a lot of that crap out. There is a little bit of metal filings on mine, which I'm sure is normal from break-in, but yeah, pretty much just clean this surface. I just used a paper towel and some brake clean. You don't need to go nuts. Try not to hit this with anything metal. If you have to, use a Scotch-Brite or a wire brush or something. Yeah, I know wire brush is metal, but and from there we're just going to clean up the rear, the seal, and then start filling her up. For this guy, we'll just you see all that stuff coming off, so we're just going to take a paper towel and clean all that mess off. We're going to do the same thing with the gasket. I won't bore you with the details, but that's what's going to happen. The other thing I would suggest that you do as well is clean the back side off and repaint it. I'll check to see if I have any black paint, because I'm not going to put blue or red because I know I have that, but that'll help prevent this from rotting out. This side nice and clean. Okay, so I hit this with a little wire brush and clean it with some brake clean, and then I'm going to hit it with some paint. The seal's clean. This guy's good, so we'll just wait for that to dry and then we'll start assembling. Okay, now it's time to put the gasket back on, and what you'll notice is there's only one way you can put this gasket on. So here's the right way. None of the bolts line up. None of the bolts line up like this. Another thing I noticed too is, notice how the Loctite is here, and it's also here, so we know that this is the inside in case you forgot. No Loctite, so I'm assuming that they put it on the bolts, squeezed it through, and that would be it. But we're waiting for this to dry, so, or the paint rather. Hold tight. Okay, so we're all nice and torqued down. I got the clips in the right positions. Everything's hooked in here, nice and secure. And the next thing we're going to do is fill this bad boy up. So if you're not using a seal and you're using RTV or gasket maker or whatever, I would let that stuff dry at least for an hour. It probably says to do it overnight, but we're using the seal, so we're good to go. And really all you need to do is cut the tip, and then we'll just pour gear oil in here until it starts oozing out. I believe this is supposed to take 2.5 quarts, but I'll get this all filled up and we'll check back. So some jobs you don't have a lot of space to work. I took the tire down for your viewing pleasure. I would probably recommend you take the spare down as well, because the spare is going to impede you being able to get the bottle in here. You could take a little hose, vacuum line or something like that, vinyl, and hook it to the end and then bring it up over top here and then stick the hose in there. That works perfectly well as well, but you decide how you want to do it. And then once you get to the end, well, this one's done, so that's quart number 1. And we'll rip on to quart number 2 here. The other thing I like to do is, you have to take a little top off of these bottles, right? Well, your instinct is to, okay, well, take this off, cut this, snap. You already cut once, don't waste your time. Use the one you cut already. Right, so I already cut this one. Screw this bad boy on here. Your time is valuable. Even these little time-saving tricks save you a few minutes. That's a few minutes of you doing something fun. The other thing I was going to mention too is when you empty the gear oil, it's going to really stink, so be prepared. Alright, I'll check back as soon as we are close to being filled up. Actually, nope. Alright, we're like this much left out of the third quart. So this is what you want to see. You want to see the level be at the bottom of the fill plug. And I just let it go until there's not a steady stream. And then from here, we'll put the fill plug in. And always make sure that you go for a test drive afterwards. Just get into the habit of that. Whenever you do anything on your vehicles, take the wheels off, change the oil, whatever, always test drive it. So I'm going to button this up, get cleaned up, and then I'm going to go take it for a little test drive. We'll see how I did. Alright, so I noticed when I put the plug back in, the threads on this are really fine, and they look like they're really easy to cross thread. So when it started going in, it was really tough. I backed it out and then wobbled it a little bit and found the actual threads, and then it went in really, really nice and smooth. So be careful about that. It's the first time I've had one of these really fine. Usually it's just a push plug or just a standard large thread bolt, but this is fine threads. Maybe they're all like that and I'm just crazy, but so we're buttoned up. I'm gonna clean up, test drive. Alright, I just got back from the test pound. Everything seems to be going good. All I really did was just drove it easy like I normally do until it warms up, and then tested to make sure the locker works and stopped, make sure that there was no leaks anywhere, and I'll look in the morning to see if anything's on the floor in the garage over here. But for the most part, it looks pretty good. Oh, and you're not going to be able to see it. Let's see if it'll spin. Yeah, she's pretty now. Well, thanks for tuning in. I think next on the agenda, I've got plugs to do and the front diff. I'm also going to be doing the transfer case, but I have to order the fluid because nobody has Dextron 5 in the brand that I like, so that'll be coming here next week. Stay tuned. Peace.